Well, good morning everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Lee, your virtual airline pilot. I'm back with you again for another scenery review, the first of this week's. First, let me say this is going to be a pretty long review, so those of you who want to go right through it, I'm really glad that you'll do that. But as usual, I will put time points through so you can skip certain features. The history is reasonably long, but I've shortened it, and I will give you the option to look at the original Wikipedia article if you're interested in looking at the history of this airport a lot more. Runways, there's quite a lot of them and a lot to go through. Again, as I said, you can skip parts of the video if you wish, but I try to do this so that people who don't have access to charts or people who don't have access to certain things, they get a complete view of the product that we're looking at. So what are we looking at? Okay, we're in the United States. We're in the state of Texas, and this is Dallas-Fort Worth Airport in Texas in the USA, Kilo Delta Foxtrot Whiskey. This is the latest premium payware scenery from Inibuilds. This is the release version 1 for the PC version of Flight Simulator 2024. Note, this is not available for Flight Sim 2020. This is purely a 2024 scenery. The download is fairly substantial, comes in at 5.27 gig and it installs at 9.15 gig, so it's a fairly substantial download. But then with the amount of detail and the work that's gone into this scenery, you'll see why ultimately. The scenery is only available from Inibuilds. I haven't seen it anywhere else. Current price is £23.99 or €27.67 or $33.02 US. As ever, US and Euro prices are estimates taken from the UK pound, and they include tax or VAT at 20%, which may vary depending on your country of purchase. So it's a really substantial scenery, kind of new product, and Inibuilds themselves say that they've really gone into the software development kit here and utilised a lot of features and new things that they've been able to do that they haven't done in other sceneries. So this should be fairly special. So as I said, it's going to be quite a long review, may well go over the hour, mainly because there's so much to see, and my videos, I try to give you the best view of what's on offer so you can make an informed decision about the product. And finally, may I first please thank Inibuilds for sending me a copy of this scenery. I didn't buy it, they were very kindly sent me a copy free for review, so my sincere thanks to Inibuilds for doing that. It's really kind of them. I'm a small content creator, not yet with a really big subscriber base, so it's really kind of them to actually take the plunge and send me the product. So my thanks to Inibuilds for that. And finally, a quick disclaimer. Obviously the comments and thoughts are my own. They've not been influenced by Inibuilds in any way. They're all my own. Okay, so there we are. That's the introduction. It's Dallas-Fort Worth. It's a huge project and a huge airport. A lot to cover. So let's have a look at the features list here. Okay, features. So as with most Inibuilds sceneries, you'll find an extensive feature list, but there's an awful lot in here that I haven't seen in others. So to begin with, we have a fully modelled and animated Skylink air train system connecting all the terminals, and you'll see some of that in the Jetway test a little later on. You have custom construction zones and active development areas positioned around the airfield to reflect real-world expansion. So expect to see some construction going on, possibly with some animations. Detailed elevated taxiway bridges crossing roads. Handmade ground textures with crisp bespoke texture sets for runways, aprons, paths and roads. True-to-life airport landside recreation with custom ground decals, signposts, vegetation, parking barriers and much more. Accurately modelled and positioned dynamic airport lighting for the enhanced realism. There's over 180 handcrafted models featuring custom-made buildings, vehicles and objects. Handcrafted terminals with crisp textures providing a fresh modern appearance. High-definition jetways with intricate details enhancing the airport's realism. Highly detailed models of all airport buildings, objects and surroundings. Full high-definition ground poly matching the 2025 airport layout, so this should be pretty current. Up-to-date airport layout reflecting the current real-world location. A level of detail, or LOD, optimization for every model, ensuring the best performance possible. Use of the latest Flight Simulator 2024 software development kit features for optimal performance and smooth experience. bespoke taxi signage, true-to-life real-world specifications, full Manager compatibility allowing easy configuration for optimal performance on your system. So basically use the Manager to install the scenery, and you'll see a number of sliders you can turn on and off to make life easier depending on how powerful your system is. And finally, we have an official custom GSX profile, and that's in the GSX folder within the scenery. But again, if you use any manager to install the scenery, you can install the GSX profile directly into the correct location using that app, that utility. So that was features for you, a long list of them, some of which I haven't seen before. Let's get on to the history. Okay, then history for you. So Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, Kilo Delta Foxtrot Whiskey, is a public-use international airport owned by the City of Dallas and Fort Worth and operated by Dallas-Fort Worth Airport Board. It is the primary international airport serving the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex and the North Texas region in the American state of Texas. It is the largest hub for American Airlines, headquartered near the airport, and is the third busiest airport in the world by aircraft movements, and the second busiest airport in the world by passenger traffic, as calculated in 2022 and 2023 according to the Airports Council International. As of 2025, it is the 8th busiest international gateway in the United States and the busiest international gateway in Texas. The hub that American Airlines operates at Dallas-Fort Worth is the second largest single airline hub in the world, and behind Delta Airlines hub in Atlanta in the United States. Located roughly halfway between the major cities of Dallas and Fort Worth, Dallas-Fort Worth Airport spreads across portions of Dallas and Tarrant counties and includes portions of the cities of Grapevine, Irving, Euless, and Coppell. The airport has service to 269 destinations, 196 domestic and 73 international, from 29 passenger airlines. As of April 2023, DFW Airport has service to more non-stop destinations than any other airport in North America. It is also the largest carbon-neutral airport in the world and the first in North America to achieve this status. As early as 1927, before the area had an airport, Dallas proposed a joint airport with Fort Worth. Fort Worth declined that offer, and thus the city opened its own airport, Love Field in Dallas and Meacham Field in Fort Worth, each of which were scheduled airline service. The joint airport proposal was revisited in 1961 after the Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA, refused to invest more money into separate Dallas and Fort Worth airports. While airline service has steeply declined at both Greater Southwest International, or GSW, and Meacham, Love Field was congested and had no more room to expand. Following an order from the federal government in 1964 that it would unilaterally choose a site if the cities could not come to an agreement, officials from the two cities finally agreed on a location for the new regional airport that was just north of the near-abandoned Greater Southwest Airport and almost equidistant from the two city centres. The land was purchased by the cities in 1966 and construction began in 1969. The cost of the first phase of Dallas-Fort Worth Regional Airport was estimated at over $700 million. Under the original 1967 airport design, DFW was to have pier-shaped terminals perpendicular to a central highway. In 1968, the design was revised to provide for semicircular terminals which served to isolate loading and unloading areas from the central highway and to provide additional room for parking in the middle of each semicircle. The plan proposed 13 such terminals, but only 4 were built initially. DFW held an open house and dedication ceremony on September 20th to 23rd, 1973, which included the first landing of a supersonic Concorde in the United States. The airport opened for commercial service as Dallas-Fort Worth Regional Airport on the 13th of January 1974 at a cost of $875 million. The first flight to land was American Airlines Flight 341 from New York. An innovative feature of the airport during its early history was the Vought AirTrans, the world's first operational fully automated people mover system, later rebranded as Airport Train and then later as Train with the AA in the middle signifying American Airlines. In 2023, Dallas-Fort Worth served over 81 million passengers, a record for the facility, exceeding 80 million passengers for the first time in the airport's 50-year history. Dallas-Fort Worth Airport has embarked on a series of expansion projects to continue through 2028. So there we are, folks, quite a lot of history, and I've really only touched the surface. If you're interested in the history of this airport, there's a really good Wikipedia article from which I've sort of taken the details there, and I'll put a link in the description below if you wish to look further at that history. But for now, let's look at the runway system here. Okay, runways. So this is going to be quite substantial because there's quite a lot of use here. So Dallas-Fort Worth Airport operates 7 runways. Starting on the west side of the airport, we have runway 13 right, 31 left, looking down the throat of 13 right now, measuring 9,300 feet or 2,835 meters. Next comes runway 18 right, 36 left, measuring 13,400 feet or 4,084 meters. Directly adjacent to this runway, the innermost, we have runway 18 left, 36 right, measuring 13,401 feet or 4,085 meters. Moving across the central area towards the east on the east side of the airport, we have the innermost runway 17 right, 35 left, measuring 13,400 feet or 4,084 meters. Directly adjacent this runway, we also have runway 17 center, 35 center, also measuring 13,400 feet or 4,084 meters. Parallel to these two inner east side runways, we have runway 17 left, 35 right, measuring 8,500 feet or 2,591 meters. And finally, we have runway 13 left, 31 right, measuring just 9,000 feet or 2,743 meters. Now all the runways are constructed from concrete with the exception of runway 17 center, 35 center and runway 18 right, 36 left, which are constructed from asphalt. The airport lies at an elevation of 606 feet or 185 meters and sits within the GMT UTC -6 hours time zone. Now the state of Texas does indeed observe Daylight Saving Time, or DST, and so with the UK and Texas having returned to their normal winter time zones, the airport remains 6 hours behind the UK. So here we are then, runway 13 right, 31 left to begin with on the west side of the airfield. It's just after 7 AM in the morning, sunrise, but good time for you to see the lighting system here. So here we are, runway 13 right has high intensity runway lighting, centerline lighting, medium intensity approach lighting system with runway alignment indicator lights, touchdown zone lighting and precision approach path indicators on the left side. So this is all correct. Here's the MASLAR or medium intensity approach lighting. You can just see there the centerline lighting and the touchdown zone lighting and the PAPIs there. If I turn the light down a little bit more actually. So there we are, we've turned it down just 10 minutes earlier and you can see the lighting a lot better now. Approach lighting, touchdown zone, centerline and the PAPIs on the left there. So approach options for this end of the runway, runway 13 right, you have an instrument landing system certified to Cat 1 and 2 low visibility operations. It's got a Z option on the chart as well. You also have a converging instrument landing system with a V option. And finally, RNAV GPS approach Y and RNAV RNP approach Z. Okay, let's check out the other end, runway 31 left. So here we are, runway 31 left, which features the same high intensity runway lighting, centerline lighting, runway end identifier lighting system and precision approach path indicators on the left side. So as you can see, all correct except we're missing the runway end identifier lighting system, the 2 white lights that flash either side of the runway. I'll get a little closer in case we can't see them this high. So there we are, right up to the runway, and you can see they're missing. So the runway end identifier lighting system, the two white lights either side of the runway end, here and here, are the only thing that's missing. And approach options for runway 31 left, we have an RNAV GPS Y approach and an RNAV RNP Z approach option. Okay, next let's have a look at 18 right. Okay, so here we are looking down the throat of runway 18 right, we're looking south. This runway features high intensity runway lighting, centerline lighting, high intensity approach lighting system with sequence flashing lights, again touchdown zone lighting and precision approach path indicators on the left. So all correct. Here you can see the flashing approach system, touchdown zone lighting, the centerline, and we've got PAPIs on the left. Approach options for this end, you have an instrument landing system certified to Cat 2 and 3 low visibility options. There's also again a convergent instrument landing system with the V option, and finally an RNAV GPS approach option with a Y. So all correct here. This end of the runway looks pretty good. So let's check out the other end, 36 left. Okay, so here we are at the other end, looking at the end of runway 36 left, which again features the same high intensity runway lighting, centerline lighting, and this end we've got medium intensity approach lighting system with runway alignment indicator lights, touchdown zone lighting and precision approach path indicators on the left. So this is all correct. Here's the medium intensity approach lighting system, touchdown zone, centerline, PAPIs on the left. This end's all correct. So approach options for 36 left, you have an instrument landing system certified up to category 2, and a converging instrument landing system, and once again an RNAV GPS approach. So a couple of options for this runway 2. Okay, so let's pop up north, have a look up here, the 18 left, the closest runway on the west side. So here we are looking down the throat of runway 18 left. Now both ends of this innermost western runway feature high intensity runway lighting, centerline lighting, medium intensity approach lighting system with runway alignment indicator lights, touchdown zone lighting and precision approach path indicators on the left side. So once again exactly the same. This time we have the medium intensity lighting, touchdown zone, centerline, PAPIs on the left, all correct there. So approach options, I will list those in a moment. Let's go and have a look at the other end, 36 right. So here we are, runway 36 right, the other end, and as you can see exactly the same features for the lighting, the centerline, the approach lighting and the PAPIs on the left. So approach options, both ends of this runway have pretty much the same approach options. You have an instrument landing system certified to category 2 low visibility options, a converging instrument landing system and an RNAV GPS approach. This end of the runway 36 right, the ILS is a standard one with no low visibility option. That's the only difference. But essentially this is all correct. So now we move across to the eastern side and we have a look at the runway closest to the eastern side of the central terminal complex. We start with runway 17 right. So here we are then, runway 17 right, 35 left. Both ends actually of this runway feature high intensity runway lighting, the centerline lighting, medium intensity approach lighting system with runway alignment indicator lights, touchdown zone lighting and again precision approach path indicators on the left. So once again they've got exactly the correct approach lighting system, the medium intensity ones. Centerline, touchdown, PAPIs on the left, again all correct for this end of the runway. I'll talk approach options in a moment. Let's go and have a look at the other end, runway 35 left up here. So here we are looking at the throat of runway 35 left. It's again the innermost runway to the complex here, and it's all correct, just as per the other runway. So approach options for both ends of this runway, they're pretty much the same. Instrument landing system certified to category 2 low visibility. Again a converging instrument landing system and an RNAV GPS approach option 2. Now runway 35 left, this end, the instrument landing system is a standard one. You only get the category 2 low vis option at the other end. Okay, so let's look at the next runway, pretty much adjacent to this. That's this one, 17 center, 35 center. We'll go up to 17 center. So here we are looking down the throat of runway 17 centre. Now again, both ends of this runway feature high intensity runway lighting, centerline lighting, high intensity approach lighting system with sequence flashing lights, touchdown zone lighting and precision approach path indicators again on the left side. So you have the higher facility approach lighting system here, touchdown zone, centerline, PAPIs on the left, all correct. And the reason we have this is because both ends of this runway have approach options including an instrument landing system certified to category 2 and 3 low visibility operation, again a converging instrument landing system and an RNAV GPS approach Y option. So both ends of this runway should have the same features, both for the ability to do low vis landings. Let's go and check the other end, runway 35 centre. So here we are looking down the throat of runway 35 centre, the other end, and as you can see it's exactly the same as the other end, all correct again with the low visibility approach option, PAPIs, centerline, touchdown zone, all necessary for low vis landings. Okay, so let's look at the other runway on the eastern side, 17 left, 35 right, over here. Okay, so here we are looking at the 17 left, 35 right runway. Again, both ends of this runway feature high intensity runway lighting, centerline lighting, high intensity approach lighting system with sequence flashing lights, touchdown zone and precision approach path indicators on the left side. So once again you can see the higher intensity approach lighting, PAPIs on the left, this is all correct. Let's have a quick look at the other end, 35 right, before I talk about the approach options. And here we are looking down the throat of the other end of the runway, 35 right, and as you can see everything is correct here except this time we've got PAPIs on the right hand side. So approach lighting is correct, touchdown zone lighting, centerline, everything else except the PAPIs are on the right side for this runway. So approach options here we have both ends again, instrument landing system certified to category 2 and 3 low visibility options. So both ends of this runway are set for low vis landings, and the RNAV GPS approach with the Y option. So all correct. So finally, let's look at arguably the most eastern runway of the lot. We've got runway 13 left, 31 right. So finally then, we're looking down the throat of runway 13 left, 31 right. So runway 13 left, this end, features high intensity runway lighting, centerline lighting, runway end identifier lighting system and PAPIs on the left. And as you can see this time they've got it. Here we've got the two flashing white lights, the runway end identifier lighting system, and you've got the intensity lighting, the PAPIs on the left. There's no approach lighting, nothing on the chart and nothing listed on the charts as well. So this is all correct. So this end, runway 13 left, again there are no published approach procedures. You could probably do a visual with ATC permission during the day, but no published approach procedures for this end of the runway. So finally let's have a look at the other end, 31 right. So here we are looking down the throat of runway 31 right. Again you have the high intensity runway lighting and the centerline lighting. This time you have medium intensity approach lighting system with runway alignment indicator lights, touchdown zone lighting and precision approach path indicators on the left side. So this is all correct. The only thing they've added, which isn't listed on the chart for this end and this runway, is you've got runway and identifier lights working here when they're not listed for this end of this runway. But I'm not complaining, these are minor things. I mean, there was so much to this airport, 7 runways, and they pretty much got it all correct. So approach options for this end, 31 white, you only have RNAV GPS approach Y option, RNAV RMP approach Z option. Finally, all of the runways, all 7 of them, are all fully grooved, which obviously is a big help. Okay, so thanks for staying with me. Hope that was useful to you. For those of you who don't have charts or maybe slightly out of date, this is why I have a look at the runway system, not only to make sure that the developers got it right, but also to see that I can provide you with the information. So that was runways. Now let's do the jetway test. Okay, jetways, time for a jetway test. So here we are, we're on stand C17, Terminal C, Charlie 17 is the stand we're on. It's the PMDG 737-800. We've spawned as usual directly from the menu, and as you can see, not only are we right on the center line, but we're right on the correct marker here. Here you can see B737 MAX 8 and the 737-800 marker. There's also a marker there for the 321, the 320 and the 319. And up here on the left you can see the visual docking guidance system, which also is active. There goes the AERO train above us as well. So I have GSX loaded, and the GSX profile is available. When you use the Ini Manager to install the scenery, you can install the GSX profile directly using that option, or if not, you can find the GSX profile in the GSX folder within the scenery itself. Okay, first thing to say is let's have a look at the Jetway. You can see how detailed it is. I think it's one of the nicest, visually most appealing jetways I've seen. You've got the whole entrance here. Okay, it's missing an engineer, but I'm not going to complain about that. The actual jetway, in terms of customization, the way it's built is excellent. The stairwell's good too. You can even see the wheels on the stairwell, which is something that's been missing from many other sceneries. And here you've got the add-ons bin, where people put FOD and other bits of equipment in there. And the whole jetway's been really purposely built, which is excellent. Okay, so let's give the jetway a try and let's see if it connects. So the wheel's moving in the correct direction even. Animation looks good. From here it doesn't look like it's going to make it, but I think it probably will. There goes the AERO train again. You'll also see that the stairs are not going into the concrete, they're actually moving along. Let's see what happens when the jetway lowers. Once again, the stairs are remaining above the concrete, which is excellent. So there's the connection. Looks like it's worked. I think it's gone through the skin, probably, but not by much. I mean, 99% of the jetways, the hoods on jetway tests go through the skin. We all know about it. Okay, just waiting for the little message up at the left to tell us that it's all complete. There it is. Okay, so let's have a closer look at this. Okay, so here you can see the hood actually has penetrated the skin, unfortunately, but there you go. So here we are just having a look at the wheels. The wheels on the jetway are in the right position, they're facing the right way, so they all turn properly, which is excellent. Also, the detail on the wheel is amazing. You can even see the tread on the tyres, something I've not seen before. Okay, so the jetway stairs have gone into the concrete slightly, but not by much. So here's a view underneath, looking toward the underneath of the jetway, and it's actually lined up pretty well with the aircraft. There's practically no gap here, which is brilliant. They've even included the light. I wonder if that works during the darkness hours. I'm still struggling with amazement here at the detail. It's an excellent piece of work. Let's check out the other side. So here's a view from the other side. Once again, you can see there's the minutest of gap here, but really not that much at all. And on this side, the jetway hood hasn't gone through the skin at all. Very, very nice. And while we're here, here's a close look at the VDGS system, which is operating. We've got the correct aircraft type, the chocks are on, I've got the correct gate as well. Okay, so let's go inside the jetway itself. Okay, so here we are inside the jetway head itself. As you can see, the door is open. There's no infringement of the hood or the side or the top of the hood at all with the door open. Plenty of room for it to swing open. The jetway doors are closed, unfortunately, on the left side here. Once again, I reach out to developers and say, please, when you're connecting a jetway, let's have these doors open so passengers can walk straight off the aircraft and straight up the gangway, and have them closed when the jetway is disconnected. That would allow users of GSX who are making videos with their passengers and so on to actually, to see them going up the gangway and not having to walk through a solid door. It has been done in a couple of sceneries, but it's pretty rare now, so I'm not going to say that's a bug or anything like that, because as I said, it exists in 99% of sceneries. But just a shout out to Inibuilds, among others, if you could think about that feature when designing your jetways, that would be brilliant. So once again, down here, look, the line is right up close to the aircraft. It's a bit low. In real life, that wouldn't be tolerated. Need to come up a bit more. Passengers would be stepping up and tripping all over the place. but these are minor things. There's a quick view from the other side, and there you can see the hood actually has gone through the skin of the aircraft. But like I said, I mean, this happens in 99.9% of the sceneries I look at. So here's a view from inside the aircraft. As you can see, the jetway is perfectly placed pretty much, apart from it being a little bit low, and it's really nicely done. You've got this nice floor effect here. The doors are all fully modelled and textured. Pity they're not open. So here we are inside the cabin. As you can see, the jetway hood has gone through the skin, but actually it's only gone through a little bit. It hasn't gone through at the top, and like I said, I've seen a lot worse than that, really. Now a quick look at the flight deck. As you can see, there's been no infringement of the flight deck by the hood of the jetway. And before we disconnect the jetway, just a final look here to show you how detailed this jetway is. It's one of the best custom model jetways I've seen, to be honest. And the connection's 95%, which is brilliant, really. You know, you can even see the tread on the tyres here. It's beautifully modelled. And look at the rust and the dust all over the air conditioning unit. Wonderful. Okay, so let's disconnect the jetway now. So there you can see the hood's gone back, and the only little problem there is the hood has gone through the open door, but that wouldn't happen normally, because normally you close the door before you remove the jetway. But that's a nice motion, nice animation, and there we are. The jetway removal is complete. Everything's moved back into the red safe area here, so that looks pretty good. So there's a high level overview, and you can see the aircraft on the stands, and all of the jetways and things that we're looking at here connected to Terminal C. It all looks pretty good. Detail's pretty amazing. Done a wonderful job here, and my camera's moving about pretty flawlessly considering all the detail. Here comes the AERO train again. Just let you see that before we close up this section of the video. So there we go, it's time to get down to basics and have a look at the airport itself and do a big tour. Hopefully this won't be too long, but I'm not making any promises. There's an awful lot to see here. Okay everybody, welcome back. So we're going to do the main tour of the scenery now. Now I'm conscious that this video could be pretty long. There is so much to see. We will start on the stand. Here I am parked on Charlie 17 C17. On Terminal C we've got the PMDG 737-800 parked there. The jetway's connected, doors are open, and this is the view you will get on the stand here as we look around. I'll show you some shots around the stands here first, then we'll take a tour of the stands and the central area, and then we'll expand out and look at a few things that we might want to see further out before we go to dusk and night time. So another close-up shot of the stand. It's just after midday here today. Date of this video is the 2nd of February 2026, and obviously we're in the winter time in the Northern Hemisphere. So we've got GSX loaded and running. On the right here, up here, you can see the visual docking guidance system is active and working. We'll see it from the flight deck in a minute. As you can see, we spawn direct from the menu. We're right on the marker here, which is brilliant. So there you can see the marker. Chocks are in place. We got the 737-800 and the MAX marker and the A320. These are all clearly demarked out, which is excellent. There's another view, open shot of the stand. And there you can see the visual docking guidance system, and we've got a view inside the terminal, and here I believe it's parallax rather than real. Okay, so here we are in the flight deck. As I said, just after noon. During the day, this is the view you get when you park up on Charlie 17 from inside the PMDG. And here you can see the visual docking guidance system as seen from the cockpit. There's a view through the captain's side, got the jetway connected, and looking across the first officer's window. Okay, so we start on our airside tour. We're on the eastern side heading north. And as you can see, there's plenty to see here. There's the de-icing kit there. There's a big car park there, landside of the main fence line. Here you can see airside roads as well. We'll look at some signage shortly, probably during the darkness hours. But as you can see, plenty to be done, and we're not even at the terminals yet. So much that has been done to this airport. The detail is amazing. Just such a load of it. All the vehicles in the right places, nothing really out of the ordinary. More stands here, once again in all good detail. Now we get to the main central complex. And while we're here, there you can see the air train. Be interesting to see what that's like at night time. Now in the features list they mentioned active construction zones. Well, we've got construction zones. Can't see anything moving there, but there's one construction zone we've seen. Looking towards landside across the top there, looks to be quite a bit of detail. While we're here, let's have a look at the central control tower. Some lovely texturing on the building there. I don't know if it's modelled inside. Let's have a look. Nope, nothing we can see inside. But as you can see, the detail on the stands is excellent. And every stand, every jetway is all fully modelled. And plenty of clutter, all of it as you would expect. There's another construction zone. So here you've got the corporate aviation ramp on the northern eastern side. A couple of static aircraft in the modelling there. They're very nice, very detailed. And the ground resolution isn't too bad. It's not as low as I thought it might be. It's a quite decent resolution. Here you've got American Airlines. And again, all nice cars, good models, none of them out of place. Excellent. So here's a close look at the fence line. We'll cross back to airside. And the fence line is pretty okay. It's as it should be. So a quick look at some of the signage here. We're close to 17 right threshold. So there's the same sign reversed on the exit, should you exit at the end of this runway. And here's the entry point for runway 17 right. And you've got the signage both left and right there, and the ground signage is excellent too. And a quick look back across the runway. Okay, so we just sort of crossed the default. Here we are going south. There we've got a animated flag, various vehicles, road signs down there too. Just come up a bit so you can have a bit of an overview. But as you can see, pretty much everything's been done in 3D. Nothing really been left to chance here. Now here are the bridges over the roads where aircraft taxi across. Slow this down a bit now. So again, you can see the detail there, right down to the different little things that they've done there to the left. It's really nicely done. Yes, there are some areas that are a bit sparse, but you know, it's good. It really is. Lots to have a look at, lots to see. And as you can see, the drone camera is actually coping with it pretty well. Here's another tower. Let's have a look at this. So from the outside, nicely modelled. Let's see if there's anything inside. And yes, there is. There you can see we've got controllers and modelling interior as well. And there we are inside the control tower, beautifully modelled. Everything down to radar screens, bottles of water. Got a young lady there. The figures are excellent. And just another view there for you. So we continue south. There you can see the AERO train. Once again, goes all the way around all three terminals. It's really good. Excellent. Once again, there you've got bridges crossing roads. And we'll swing over to the western side here. All the trees and foliage all look pretty good as well. Nothing really growing into the roads, which looks good. So here we've got some low resolution work. And again, within the confines of LANDSIDE here, this looks like cargo bits and pieces. It is really impressive. And you can see why the download is so big. It's a huge project to attempt, and so far I think they've done a nice job here. Okay, so a couple of high-level overview shots for you. There we are looking southeast as the entrance to the airport. There we are looking northeast. You've got the central terminal complex there, and the runways and taxiways either side, various buildings, and also equipment there on the other side. There looking northwest, you've got runway 13 right, 31 left over there in the distance. And here you've got the eastern side complex there. There's also the eastern control tower there, which we'll go and have a quick look at. So once again, some nice modelling, little bits of low resolution over here, but you know, they've done it. They've not left it to chance. And once again, even though it's way out over here in the Badlands, as it were, they've modelled the inside of this tower too, which is wonderful. So here's the inside, and I have to say what I like about this so far is it's not an exact copy of the other tower. It would have been so easy, I think, to clone the contents of the other control tower, but this one looks different. You've got at least one or two people there that were not in the other tower, and the floor's different, I think. But nicely done. And there's a quick view looking northwest, and this tower, as you can see, has an elevator or a lift inside. Really good. Okay, just a quick tour of this facility here on the northwest corner. There you've got the corporate aviation. Again, plenty of vehicles, all of them in their slots, nothing literally thrown at the ground. It's all been nicely done. And we just go across the top of the building towards the central roadway area. And plenty of road signs. I mean, lots of modelling, it's really good. And it's nice to see roads going under bridges for a change. Very often you see bridges and then you see blockages. And really decent road signs as well. And presumably this is more car parking space. So here we've got the AERO trains just stopped at that station there. And it will carry on to the next terminal. So here we are, Landside car park. This is the first anomaly I've found, floating cars. But I'm sure this will be fixed at some point. And as we travel over, you can see you've got a couple of AERO trains, not just the one, they all go backwards and forwards. Right, so these cars are okay, they're not floating. So Landside looks pretty good. It's a bit barren in terms of no people or whatever, but you know, you've got to remember this is a massive project and they've done quite a lot. So there are obviously parts that they're not going to do. On the whole, it's great. So you have this big structure there, which I think is a hotel. And there's the tower again, and again, roads in 3D, plenty of road signs. And here you've got more cars in the car park. Here's the Grand Hyatt Hotel. Very nice. It's great, it really is. Okay, so there we had a fairly extensive tour during the daytime. Let's bring it down to dusk now and have a look at what the lighting looks like. Okay, 6:30 in the evening. As I said, it's 2nd of February 2026 here. We're in the winter in the northern hemisphere. And this is the view across the central area, and it's wonderful. You know, the lighting in Flight Sim 2024 is really good, especially if a developer knows how to use it. And here you've got this lovely contrast where we've got the tungsten lighting, yellow tungsten lighting landside on the car parks, and you have the vast LED high density lighting on the stands. And just down there you can see a little bit of light at the front of the back of the AERO train. We'll get a close-up look at that later. But here across the central area, I mean, it looks wonderful. There's a wonderful display of colour as we hit the dusk hours. There's a view looking south, plenty of green centerline taxiway lights, blue airfield edge lights, all of the taxiway signs, as you can see, are lit. It looks really good. There goes the AERO train down there to the right. And there we are, looking slightly to the northwest. Once again, you have this wonderful contrast between the tungsten lighting landside and the LED lighting airside. Okay, let's have a look at some ground markings and lights. There you can see the blue airfield edge lights, and they're proper bulbs, which is excellent. Here you've got taxiway signage, taxiway Lima. And you've got stop bars as well for coming off the airfield runway. 17 right, 35 left marker there. All looks really impressive as we cross the runway. So a little look at this stand area that we passed over during the daytime. And we've got some parallaxing that's good quality there, you can see inside. Very nice indeed. As we carry on round the building, various bits of clutter as well on the ramp. So as we get close you can see it's parallaxing, but we've only got to move back a small amount and it starts to look real. I mean, that's good high quality parallaxing. And as you can see here, the quality is extended to the vehicles. Nothing's been forgotten. There's some really nice vehicle models here, and they're pretty much in an out of the way place. You might not even park your aircraft up here, so you might never get to see these, but they've been done, modelled really nicely. So we have a close look at this area here. So there we can see inside the train, it's lit inside, which is a huge thing for me. I think it's brilliant. It's a very nice model, beautifully done, same amount of detail as the vehicles we were looking at a moment ago. And this is one of the station stops. And there, as I said, you can see lighting inside the train and on the outside as well. Excellent. So here's one of the construction zones that we were talking about in the features. Plenty of stuff there, and it's all going to look pretty good. And there you can see parallaxing down there, the same high quality we saw earlier at the other location. Here's my aircraft on Charlie 17. Very nice. So let's pop across the land side. And once again, we've got nice, really nice lighting on this area. Okay, some floating cars here. Those are issues they'll have to have a look at. Again, you see the parallaxing is of very high quality, so you look in through the windows and it looks as though it's almost real. And the same is true landside here as we go across. There's some really wonderful lighting. Well, the way the car park is lit here is really good. No floating cars here. As we come to the Grand Hyatt Hotel, again you have the same high quality parallaxing on the windows. See, even up this close, it looks real. Okay, so let's look at some interior. We're on the east side of some of the D gates. We'll look at the lower level first. This is AIRSIDE. And this is a really nice scene that greets us. So we'll do a brief little tour. We've got various people sitting around. The signage is good. In fact, just about everything is high resolution. It's really good here. And as you can see, Inibuilds is also advertising its own gear. And as you know, I do like to have a look at the departure boards and see how accurate and clear they are. And as you can see, we're right up close to these, and they're still eminently readable. So kudos for that. Very, very well done. I have to say the people figures are excellent. They're good quality. And as you can see, the signs change as well, which is brilliant. So here we've got stairs and escalators. They're not animated, unfortunately. Let's see if we can take us up to the upper level. And indeed we can. So we go along the corridor here, see what we can find. I'm actually not sure that it goes anywhere, but we'll see. The inside is modelled. That's the important thing. Okay, so we've got escalators going down. And here we are. And you've got duty-free shops. Just stop here for a minute. So various shops and things there. And that, I believe, goes out to Landside. So a quick look. And indeed it does. Excellent. And here's the other end. Once again, some nice little modelling, some various people changing signs. It's been nicely done. And there we are, looking out through the windows at the sunset. And as you can see, plenty for you to explore and have a look at inside. It's really nice. And another shot looking out onto the ramp through the windows from inside the terminal. So as you can see, there is upper level development to some sort, no people or bits and pieces, but here you can see we're looking out the windows to Landside on the upper street level, so it's there. And here's a view looking from the upper level out across airside, and you can see the passenger area below. So there is one of the stations, and as you can see, the train is pulling up. Hopefully in a moment it'll come past. And here it comes. And as you can see, beautifully modelled, lights on the outside, lit up on the inside, which is brilliant. That is a very nice animation. So a couple of shots around the main stand where I'm parked. And here's a close look at the Jetway end. And you may remember when we did the Jetway test, I was wondering if these lights were open and lights were running, and indeed they are. There's another different view. And again, just note the quality of these vehicles. They're beautifully done. Up close, they're excellent. No jaggies. You can even see the tread on the tyres here. And you've got various illuminated signs. Here's the very high resolution parallaxing that gives a really good account of what's going on here. Once again, a quick view in the darkness here from inside the flight deck. This is what you see when you park up on stand Charlie 17, and it's pretty good. Okay, you could argue that we're missing a couple of people walking here and there, but you know what, it's not bad at all really. So there's the view from the captain's side, and there's a view out through the starboard, out over the starboard wing from within the passenger cabin. So before we go to night time, you can see dusk is dropping fast. Let's just do a tour across here from a high level. I mean, that hotel looks really good, doesn't it? There's the control tower. Once again, all lit up inside, and some interesting ultraviolet sort of light in there. Really, really nice. And we have the mandatory red lights on the top as well. So we go across the car park, over the Grand Hyatt Hotel. I really like the way the parallaxing's been done, it's excellent. Some lovely lighting, it really is very nice. So just a little run down the taxiways here, just so you can have a close-up look at the lighting. It's very, very nicely done. The green centerline lights are really good quality, as are the blue airfield edge lights. And as you can see, the signs are lit well. They sit into the grass nicely. It's excellent. Very nice indeed. Just wherever you look within the central area, the lighting is beautiful. And the train is great. And the landside comes to life in the darkness as well. It's really nice. It's very close to being one of the best airports I've seen. Exceptional. Okay, as you can see, the light is pretty much gone now. Let's take it down to late at night and see what it looks like. Okay, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. That's the latest sort I can get, or the darkest I can see. As you can see, not an awful lot of difference from what we've just left. The light has come up somewhat, but it doesn't really get seriously black out here at the moment. But it's just literally just after 2 AM, and this is the view at night time. Looking out across the runways, you can see the stop bars, and looking in the other direction. So just a short airside tour across the stand where I'm parked. As I said, this is night time, and this is what it looks like. The central area there looks wonderful. It's done wonders with the lighting and the way it looks on the hotel there. Here's one of the construction zones, all nicely lit up at night. There's so much to see and enjoy about this product. It's just exceptional in so many ways. Beautifully modelled. And this is a satellite pier. Once again, the parallaxing really works. It really does. So here's a view of one of the stations. As you can see, it's fairly basic, but you know, it's no real big deal. It's there are lots of these along this line. Let's wait for a train to come. And here it comes. Very nice, and you can see inside has been done and fully modelled. That's one of the great things about this scenery as well. Not only have they included the AERO train, they've lit it and they built it inside. Okay, so let's bring the dawn up now. Okay, 7:30 in the morning local time, and the sun's coming up behind us, and here's the red glow that you get across the airfield. There we are looking southwest, and a view to the northwest. And the sun rises in the east. Beautiful. Okay, it's 10:30 in the morning, and time to wrap up this review, this incredibly long review, and give you my thoughts and comments. Do I like it? Yeah, of course I like it. It's a massive project. Dallas-Fort Worth is a huge airport. And a really massive project for anybody to take on, let alone an organisation like Inibuilds. Yeah, they've done a marvellous job. Okay, not everywhere is done to the minutest detail, but there are so many places for you to explore that have been done in detail. I love the inside interior of the terminals parts that they've done. It's, you know, it just smacks of realism. Everything down to McDonald's and the duty-free shops. And the young man with the little child walking, or certainly in one of the airside lounges. The parallaxing on the areas of the airport that haven't been developed is of such a high quality that it looks really good. You're going to be hard pressed to decide whether it's real or not. I mean, you look at this view here, and you could be looking at a photograph of the real place. This is a wonderful job. They've done so much work here, so much work. It doesn't surprise me that the install is over 9 gigs. So if you've got room for it, this is great. And as you've seen through this review, my drone camera has been moving about with hardly any of a sort of a blip or a stutter or anything. The scenery is so well optimized. It's quite amazing, really. What about the price? Well, it's on the high end. If you look at the dollar value, it's over $33. And it's getting on for £24 not in the UK, close to 28 euros. Yeah, it's not cheap, but then firstly you look at the amount of work that's been done. This is a massive airport with so much detail, so much work, and remember those prices also include tax or VAT at 20%, and for some of you in other countries that tax will be a bit cheaper than the 20% we pay here in the UK. So yes, it's an upper level price, but the scenery I think warrants it. It certainly gives the likes of Pyrogue Dev Company and Fly Tampa a run for their money. Inibuilds is right up there. So we now have at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 developers that I can name now that I would arguably have a look at every time they release them. You've got RW Profiles, which I've reviewed as scenery recently. Now we've got an Inibuilds project that's really amazing. Fly Tampa, of course, goes without saying, been around a long time, still do great works. And Pyrogue Dev Company, which is a one-man band, okay, takes a long time to bring something out, but his work is exceptional. So we've now got a number of top developers developing for 2024, as well as the original sim still. You know, it's a fun time to be a flight simmer, it really is. And the projects that are coming out are just amazing. So yeah, I mean, if you've got the drive space and you've got a reasonable PC, remember you can configure the scenery as well in the Ini Manager to turn on and off certain things, which makes life a whole lot easier. So if you've got the inclination, yes, I recommend the scenery, even at the price it's being sold at. And the other thing is, Inibuilds do tend to bring out some sale prices here and there, so you never know. In due course, this may come out in a sale. if you're prepared to wait. But if you want the best Dallas-Fort Worth Airport Flight Simulator 2024, this is it, certainly. It's a wonderful piece of work, beautifully detailed, and yeah, thoroughly recommended. So there you are, it's Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport in Texas in the USA, Kilo Delta Foxtrot Whiskey. This is a premium payware scenery from Inibuilds. This is the release version 1 for the PC version of Flight Simulator 2024. It's not available in this version for 2020. Download comes in at 5.27 gigs and it installs at 9.15 gigs, so it's a fairly substantial install, but if you've got the room, you're going to enjoy it. It's available only and exclusively from Inibuilds. Once again, I'd like to thank them for sending me a copy for this review. I'm very grateful for that opportunity. The price is £23.99 UK, which equates to roughly €27.67, or just over $33 US. The US and Euro prices are all estimates taken from the UK pound, and they include tax or VAT at 20%, which of course could vary depending on your country of purchase. It's a stunning piece of work, it really is. So there you are. If you stayed with me right through this long review, thank you very much. I'm very grateful. I see it as my task to be able to look at as much as I can and bring it to you, the viewer, the potential customer, so you can get a good idea of what this product really is like. And sometimes it does take a long time. Once again, remember, I will be putting timestamps up as well in the description, so if you want to go and look at a certain thing, hopefully what I have in the timestamps may help you. The history is quite interesting. If you want to read the full history on the Wikipedia article that I reference, once again I'll put the link to that article in the description below. So yeah, marvellous piece of work, absolutely stunning. Go and get it. I think it's well worth the price. So my name is Lee, thank you very much for watching. I'm your virtual airline pilot. This is the first of this week's scenery. Coming later this week, hopefully we're going to look at the latest version of Katowice in Poland from Dominic Design. And yeah, and they've upgraded that quite a lot, and some interesting things to look at in that product as well. So thank you very much for watching. If you're new here, welcome. Click that like and subscribe button. It costs you nothing, but it really helps my channel. If you feel like buying me a coffee, go ahead and do that. It's a couple of quid, it's nothing really much, but it does help me where I do have to cover the costs for some of the reviews I do. So it only remains to say thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. I will see you later this week in the next review. Take care, bye for now.